Hey Kenny,
Hey Matt, how's it going?
good. How are you?
Good.
All right, I'd like to introduce everyone to our guest winemaker here today. This is Kenny Likitprakong of Hobo Wines. Kenny makes an amazing array of labels and an amazing lineup of delicious wines. And so we brought him here to specifically talk about one of them, but I know there's a wine connection in the family, but can you just tell me and the audience, yeah, what got you started?
Yeah, I guess I grew up working, or not working, but I grew up kind of around a winery that my dad worked at, and I did work there a little bit. My first like real vintage working full time at a winery was 1998, and so I was 23 at that point.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'd been around wine before that, but like, and then my first vintage, the first Hobo vintage was 2002. So I guess at that point I was 27. Roughly, we source grapes off of about 200 acres, and of that 200 acres, we farm about 70.
And you guys farm sustainably and as well as your partner vineyards?
So we everything that we farm ourselves, we farm organically. We're in the process right now of actually certifying all the vineyards that we farm. So everything that we farm will be certified organic. We're also in the process of trying to certify as many of the vineyards that we don't farm as well. I think in about a year or two, when this process is done, we should only have one or two vineyards left that are not certified organic. But those are part of like monitored third-party sustainable programs. If you're taking care of the vineyards properly, then that's really where the wine is being made. And then after that, it's just kind of like, you know, uh, I guess just sort of like hand holding, not steering.
One particular wine of yours today that I want to dive into a little more deeply, and that is this guy right here. So this is the Folk Machine White Light. What's the idea behind this wine? I mean, that's kind of it's some Italian grapes, some French German grapes, like
The kind of in this order, the biggest piece is uh, Tokai Friulano, and then after that you have kind of roughly equal parts of Verdelho and Riesling, and then a smaller part of Sauvignon Blanc. The fun of this wine is that it's something that's uniquely New World. You wouldn't be allowed to. I mean, basically, you wouldn't be allowed to blend these varieties together in France or Italy. I mean, you wouldn't find them in close enough proximity to even, um, I think, logistically do it. So it's kind of a uniquely New World thing where you can blend these varieties that are not otherwise seen together into a single wine, which I think it's fun. It works really well. They are actually, at least in this situation, quite well suited for each other. The Riesling, which has like is a somewhat aromatic variety, and Verdelho, which can be aromatic as well, and in our Verdelho is, and then that's blended with Sauvignon Blanc, and then the Tokai Friulano, which is definitely a much drier profile, like bordering on kind of like saline, salty, almost briny kind of thing. And so all those things kind of coming together, it's like we used to do a Tokai Friulano by itself, and it was just like a little bit too briny. It was like great when you were having like something like oysters or something very that worked well with all that like saline salt type thing, but like it was a little too much on its own. And like I think you still have that here. This can still be like a pretty good like seafood oyster type wine, but then it's also like I said, like it's got this like these aromatic qualities also introduced to it, and they also are kind of like made more subtle by the Friulano and the Sauvignon Blanc. So I think you get to this wine that's like very fun, very easy drinking, yet like quite pleasing and pleasant, and like again like kind of uniquely New World. Generally, I want to promote wine with food, but like this wine actually is quite nice on its own. It's light enough and low enough in alcohol. I think that it kind of is a good aperitif. we've had glass pours and like several oyster bars with this wine. I think it works really well with oysters, and
you could spin that for November, do some like baked clams with a little bit of a sharper cheese melted on top or something like that. And I think it'd be delicious.
yeah, it definitely fits that like kind of dry white without a lot of alcohol, like a Swiss fondant or something like that. I think it can work like that.
Well, Kenny, anything else you've got on the horizon from either this vintage or the last vintage that you've not yet released? Anything fun that you're super stoked on?
2020 has proven to be for us here on the north coast of California, like a somewhat challenging vintage. So we're I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of new wines, but from 2019, let's see. It's not a new wine, but one wine that I'm really excited about is we planted some Alianico a number of years ago, and it's just getting now to a point of like being fairly mature. And I think the 2019 that we'll bottle in December here is the first like really good example of like what the vineyard is going to be capable of. It's been getting like I think 16 was the first year we bottled it, so that this is actually the fourth year we've bottled it, but it's gotten better every year. And I feel like we're finally at a point where it doesn't taste kind of juvenile anymore. So that I'm pretty excited about that. That's yeah, we'll bottle that in about 6 weeks or so.
Thanks so much, Kenny.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
And
Thanks. Thanks to everyone who ends up drinking this wine too.
Yeah, for sure. We'll check back in with you in the future.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye.